It is 6:04. We do have a quorum. If you'll join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among the United cultures. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining us today. We do have Ms. Batista, Ms. Miles, and we have Mrs. Cobos on the line. So, hello, Ms. Cobos.
No.
There you go. She can hear us. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, so item 2, consent agenda. A, consideration to adopt the meeting agenda. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I second.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Oh, we have to do roll call. Roll call. Ms. Cobos, I'll start with you.
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so now item 3B, consideration to approve the minutes of previous meeting. We've got the regular board meeting on June 8th and the special board meeting on July 6th.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes from June 8th as well as the special board meeting from July 6th.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Batista and a second by Ms. Miles. Roll call again. Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so we have 4 presentation. Is there something?
No presentation.
No presentation. Okay. Item 5, board reports. 5A.
One thing that I thought was nice was just the fire department, all volunteer, right? They put on a great show for the 4th of July, even with the crazy storm coming in. They had to fight a few fires there in between some fireworks, but that was fantastic. And we appreciate that we can just have small town America right here in Dexter. So It was
Yes.
great.
It's pretty special.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. I really was very happy to see, and it was pretty eventful. Thank you to the fire department as
Yeah.
well. They had, like Ms. Batista said, you guys had a couple of fires you guys had to keep contained. And the show did go on, so thank you guys very much for that.
And right before the storm hit, that was fantastic. That was probably neat. One of the neatest things I've seen is fireworks in front of lightning, right? Like lightning behind and then all these fireworks going off in front. That was fun.
Awesome. Anybody else? Ms. Cobos? You good?
What about that factory stuff? There's working and all of that.
Awesome. Cool. I can barely hear.
If you have not gone around there, you really should drive around on the backside. They are really, it's looking good.
We got lots of weeds coming up, but once the grass is established, we can take care of the weeds.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, sweet. Good to hear.
Nice.
Okay. So item 5B, superintendent report.
So you'll notice that the agenda looks a little bit different. We are working on streamlining some of the information as well as making it all look the same and giving the community the ability to see a lot of these reports. So here, I brought up over here, this is what it looks like now on the community side. And they are actually able to go through these reports. As you'll notice, really the superintendent's report is the only one that has any information on it. But in the future, tomorrow, all of the administrators come back on staff. So you'll be seeing their reports and they all are uniform in what that has on there. Current enrollment, some attendance data, as well as behavior and culture. And then going down into some of the events that are coming up at their school that they can show you, or the events that have happened. So giving a place for us to just show more of the good things that are happening every single day at the schools. and giving the community a look at that. So if anyone who wants to see that, when you go to the Dexter Consolidated Schools website and you go to district information, under Board of Education, minutes and agendas. And we're in the 26-27 school year. And these are agendas. And right here you can see our special report was here on 7/6. This is the board report without any of the hyperlinks. And in the future, we won't put that up there, but we had already previously put it up there. So we added this hyperlink version, and that way any of the information community can also access. Tomorrow, admin and secretaries come on back on contract. July 16th, we're going to have teacher synergy training. That is our new power school. With that, we'll be sending lots of information out to parents because the parent view will change as well with the new company, Synergy. And we chose that to move to Synergy. We didn't really choose it. The state had the option for us to get in on the first cohort. There's multiple cohorts, and they're looking at having all districts on the same SIS system. So when students move, it's an easier transition from system to system. And then we can also see students' IEP data and all of that more easily as well. I do need a board member for July 22nd
What time?
at 7:45 to do new teacher orientation, just a welcome. So
I can do that because I have to be at work by 2, so I can leave early. So that's not a problem.
by 2,
It's an early day.
I will put you down.
Take a break and then go back.
So we have a lot of fun things, 2 days for our new teachers. We're gonna take them, and the Historical Society is gonna talk to them. We're gonna take them on a bus ride. I have students coming in to teach them the Blue Pride Promise as well as the fight song. So just really getting them acquainted with the buildings and knowledge of the people before the school year starts, and then providing them some training as well. We have Vector training, which is a virtual day on July 27th. That's a Monday. So every year we're required by law to do all of these list of trainings. And so that's the day that we're going to have that training, and it'll all be online. Our subs also take those trainings. And so with that, we're bringing substitutes in on July 30th, and we'll have an in-person training in the morning a little bit, and then we will pay them the rest of the day to do the trainings as well. Because it's important they also are trained. We have July 31st back to school breakfast and training. If any of you could come and give a welcome that morning, it would be great.
I can try to come to that. Sure.
I think I probably can too.
And that would be fine too.
What time?
That's good.
It's 7:45, same.
7:45?
Everybody do one of them?
No, thank you.
Oh.
Please don't all do that.
7:45.
And then I missed this on this part, but I did get it on the back. We're having our back to school swim party at the pool on July 30th. And all board members, if you can attend, will feed hot dogs to the staff. And I haven't talked to Jeannie yet, but maybe she'll make some ice cream too.
Yeah, that alone is worth it. Oh my gosh.
Do you need like a to serve or help with the hot
Yes,
dog?
yeah. Sorry,
Are you gonna be able to bring your grill?
I think we borrowed at the
Last time,
base
yes.
grill from the school, so.
Yes. I manned it last year, but
Yes, you do.
I don't know who's gonna man it this year or looking for volunteers.
Volunteer?
Okay, there you go. Sounds good.
Do we have to?
Perfect.
We did pitch in merit, and I think it was about $100 a board member, so.
I was one of my favorite days.
It was
That's a
fun.
good deal.
That's the 30th at what time?
It's the 30th at 7 PM.
And we have it for like 2 hours.
Yes.
So what about purchasing all of that?
Last year, Annabelle and I don't remember if it was I or her, one of us went to Sam's and got. I just need a word.
Well, if you need help with that.
I haven't, there's a lot of things, we have training this week and new teacher next week, so it hasn't come up on my thought, but I will definitely, let you know. The things that
Awesome.
we have going. Back to school, August 3rd, we have 1st through 12th grade. School is gonna technically start at 9 o'clock that morning. It's gonna be more of a soft, start. Students will be able to still be dropped off at 7:45, but our hope with this is, we're having parents come to the night in which they're dropping kids off, and then they're also coming the first day of school and staying for an extended period of time. So when I talk to teachers and ask them like, hey, how would this help? It would be more beneficial if we had one time drop off. So we're gonna try this. Parents can come at 7:45, but 9 o'clock is the actual start time that morning.
10-4.
Kids can come get their computers, at the high school level. Middle school, is gonna do their own, schedule where they can still do some stuff, open their lockers, that kind of thing from 7:30 to 9 or 7:45 to 9. And we'll see how that goes, or if we need to go back to the traditional nighttime stop, drop and meet the teacher, but that was something we had decided that let's try for this next school year. And then pre-K and kinder come August 5th. On our next board meeting, with David Chavez, at 4:30, we're gonna meet at the August board meeting. So it'll be right before the board meeting at 4:30 to go over the final strategic plan. We could have opted for a daytime, but I know several people, it's harder if it's right in the middle of the day to go back to work or whatnot. So I asked if he could just come next board meeting a little early, get it done, and we should be on our way, to present the strategic plan to you guys.
So that'll be the 10th.
That will be the 10th, yes.
Can you send a invite through Gmail
Yes.
that we have that? Thank you.
And then, after we went to Ron Clark, something that we came away with was the fact that students at that school were different than students anywhere else in terms of them coming up, introducing themselves, shaking your hand. And we're talking about like 4th grade students having those abilities to have conversations with adults, greet them, and direct them. And so how could we implement that into our school? And there's several other schools in New Mexico also doing their own version of this. And we're gonna call it the Dexter Edge. And what that's gonna do is every single week, we'll have a skill to work on, and it'll be pre-K through 12th grade. And based upon their skill level, it will be on the expectation for that information. So our pre-K through 3rd grade, the first week might be, greet people in the hallway, and it might just be to smile at people as you walk by. But as we get further and further, it's, greet people, call them by their name, ask them how they're doing, and engage in conversation differently. And so this is something that we're going to work on this year. And there's also a competition. It's called the Amazing Shake, the Ron Clark version. And we're going to have our own version late February or March, and hopefully invite community members to be judges for that. And it's anything from your basic handshake that we're judging students on, to introducing themselves, to scenarios of, hey, you won this award, can you give a little acceptance speech? So just everyday skills that students should have. And we're gonna start at our little kids, and we're gonna go all the way up to 12th grade, and our competition will be 4th through 12th grade. So hopefully give some soft skills to our students and do that district-wide.
Cool. That's cool.
And that is all. Oh, no, one more thing. We are going to ask, take community info about transfers. So NMAA passed a bylaw that students will be able to have one free transfer for athletics. And so they'll be able to move one time. Districts are able to create their own guidance based upon that, and they can be more strict or they can be more lenient based upon their ideals and thoughts. So we're going to send that out in the next week to kind of get community input on what are our thoughts about students transferring in. Do we want them automatically eligible, which is what NMAA now has? Or are we going to go ahead and say, no, we want students to have to set out the 365 days for varsity, right? They can still play JV, but they wouldn't be able to play at the varsity.
Okay, could there be options on that, or what are you hearing on other schools? Sit out
So
that season or
Las Cruces is, so with NMAA, you have to come before the season starts. So let's say right now, football has not started actual season, they're in preseason, so they can't make anything mandatory or whatnot. But and this is just a date, it may not be right, but it's like August 3rd or 5th is the first actual day of football practice, right? Whoever enrolls would have to be enrolled prior to that date, according to NMAA, to be able to play at the varsity level that year. So if you came September 1st, you would not be able to play. That's part of their rules. We can be more strict. Las Cruces and Albuquerque are going to, Las Cruces for sure, because they already had stated before, but Albuquerque also, because their schools are so close together, they know that students will jump from school to school. And so Las Cruces is going to come up with a plan in which they don't allow transfers within. I'm not sure what Roswell is going to do, but they also have 2 schools within their own district in which they could jump back and forth. And so I foresee some schools to make a plan for that, or at least have in writing, like, we allow the NMAA rules to happen. So that'll be coming out to community to give us some input on thoughts.
You're gonna do like a
If
survey.
you're putting that thing, will that be sent out on, is it? Or?
Yeah, so we'll have, so typically anytime we send anything on social media, we also put it on the website. And then also, we've been sending, text messages to all parents as well, just as a reminder of like, hey, this is out there, to get the most input possible.
Perfect. Thank you.
And so that's all of superintendent's reports. The rest of these reports are empty tonight, so elementary school, middle school, as they're not on contract, but I did want you guys to see what in the future those would be looking like as we go through the year.
okay. And on these reports, is there a way we can get, if we could find a way to limit maybe a certain amount of it, and maybe we can go through it so we can include the rest of the community or on some of it. Maybe somebody can read 2 of them out of all of them or present on 2 of them. I know everybody can get on and click on them, but it might be kind of nice just to get some more community involvement. Come out and present on something like that.
I think we could add that to the board calendar of like, this and this are gonna present to on that day.
Yeah,
That wouldn't be a problem at all.
I mean, they're on there, but it's just nice. I mean, nice to see something else happening other than just conducting some business. So, okay. Awesome.
Will they be able to put photographs on there the way that?
Yes, yeah, they should still have no problems picture wise, which is my hope. I mean, I like that part of it.
Yes. Okay. There you go.
We're good.
All right. Item 6, public forum. Good. All right, good. Item 7, business. 7A, first reading of policy advisory, number 275-GCIA, teacher residency program. Item B, first reading of policy advisory as well. Number 276, JICJ, use of cell phones and electronic devices in schools. Item C, first reading of policy advisory, number 277, JLCEC, cardiac emergency response plan, automated external defibrillators. And also 7D, first reading of policy advisory number 278, JLF, reporting child abuse and child protection. Did you want to touch base on these?
Yeah, we can, I mean, we want to approve on this, but previously we did not pass the Teacher Residency Act changes. And the reason for that was a lot of the changes they made to that advisory, they took away some of that language that we were worried about. That was actually my very first board meeting that was on the agenda. And it talked about how the school would have to pay and that they had to have a position at the district if they went through the residency program. They took a lot of that language out. So as I read it through the first couple of times, I do think that this policy actually takes into account a lot of the school districts who had concern over this. Because used to, we would have had to hire them over another applicant. And so they did change some of that language. And I think that the language that they did take out and change is a good move. So when we get to that policy, I think we should go ahead and right now approve it next board meeting.
Right.
The PED guidance on anti-distraction policy in schools. Last year, they gave us the option on how we wanted to word the anti-distraction policy. And now they're being a little more straightforward. Schools did have the freedom to choose on if they wanted to allow phones during passing periods or during lunch. We opted not to. But they're now, PD has come back with guidance. So I do think we should look through, there's two options, and we should look at those options and see which one is close to the current option that we do have. And we should vote on one of these two options in the future as our new policy. So that way it aligns with their language. The House Bill 256 defibrillators at school athletic events, they passed that in the legislature. It created a new section of the Emergency Medication in Schools Act. We're already doing a lot of this. The only thing is now we also need a plan in our safety plan that the state helps mandate to also, if somebody needed one, who would go and help assist in that area. So we'll be creating that as well. It shouldn't be too big of a deal. So just ensuring that we have them and have a program or a committee in place. Reporting child abuse and child protection. Read these last week whenever it took away some of the language, but mostly it was about, like school employee licensed or unlicensed. And it now is not limited to school employees, but volunteers have to report abuse, contractors, employees, anyone has to. So they made it a little more broad. And then also added the links to CYFD that have been updated since that policy. So I recommend that we would approve that to next meeting as we talk about that. Questions?
I have a question on the defibrillator. Remind me, do we have people at each building that know how to roll that?
Everybody is trained through Vectors for defibrillators. And then we do have nurse at one building and a certified nurse who's a teacher at another building, but everybody takes the training for AEDs. Oh, and coaches and any coach receives the training through Vector.
And also CPR class.
And CPR.
CPR first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's part of it.
Okay, yeah, I vaguely remember, I remember it all now.
Yeah. And then we also, we had training for our bus drivers this last year. And we were made aware that there was not an AED at the bus barn, so that has been ordered as well. So we should have one at every building.
Thank you.
Okay, so item 7. Oh, get out of there. No, I clicked on it and then making it big, sorry. Okay, so approval of policy, items 7E, approval of policy advisory number 273-GBGC, employee assistance.
So with the employee's assistance, it's replacing an existing opening paragraph which addresses situations in which the district may require an employee to complete a medical examination. So currently it was a little more broad in terms of reasons why you could ask an employee to get a medical examination. And now it becomes, for the employee, a little bit more concrete on why that can be asked. And so I do recommend, because this is from legal counsel, that we update that language to meet policy 273, the advisory.
I move we approve policy advisory 273 and GBGC employee assistance.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Miles. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a second by Ms. Batista. Roll call, Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item 7F, approval of policy advisory number 274, KDB, public's rights to know.
This is to do with our IPRA, so requests that are made based on, that is public information. And this clarifies the records custodian and also adds that we must post who the records custodian is on our website. And we currently do adhere to that. And so I recommend that we approve this policy.
I believe I saw on there as well that if we needed to print something, we couldn't exceed over $1 per page, correct?
Yeah, and I want to say that our policy already has that information in it. And 99% of the people, it's all electronic records.
That's what-
We've not
what I
had
saw.
any paper requests. And
Okay, any questions or?
And I do think they put in there that you can't charge for time, because I think some people were trying to.
Yeah.
So they just clarified what you can and can't charge. And
Do we have a motion on the floor?
I move we approve policy advisory number 274, KDB, public's right to know.
Okay, awesome. We have a motion on the floor by Ms. Miles. Do we have a second?
All circle?
Okay, we have a second. Yep, we have a second by Ms. Cobos. Roll call, Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item 7G, approval of adult meal increase to $5.50.
Shall I talk about that one a second?
yeah,
So the reason that we need to increase is, I have heard, haven't seen anything yet from the National School Lunch Program, but I have heard that we'll be getting a raise to the amount that we're gonna receive in reimbursement. And so in order for us to be able to serve any adult, we have to charge that amount plus the commodity value. And so usually, our staff is a little bit lower, so if staff is $5.50, then non-staff $1 more. And so that's not on the agenda, I know, so that's probably my fault, but I haven't received that. We didn't receive it last year till like September or in the middle of September. And I hate to raise the price after school starts. I would rather do it at the beginning, and then I know it's gonna go up, but in case it didn't go up, then next year we wouldn't have to raise it. So that was just kind of my thinking on that. Either way, we're gonna have to raise it if the government gets up.
Any thoughts?
I mean, I prefer that we do it now versus
Yeah. What do they pay currently?
525.
25?
25% increase.
So it's going up a quarter.
Yes.
Okay.
No other questions?
Nope, no questions, motion, or
I move that we,
I move we approve the meal rate.
okay, we have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second, let's go ahead and go with, roll call again, Ms. Cobos,
I,
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item 7H, discussion and approval of school board calendar.
So I don't know that we necessarily need to approve this tonight, especially I'm gonna add, which administrators will report, but this is a good start in terms of what that looks like. We have student teacher presentations. I'm gonna ask, them to come and present during, the board meeting. So we also have some student interaction. Sorry, I'm gonna click on it because I'm looking over there is hard to. I've added possible training. So if NMSBA had a training that has a date on it, at least we have that on there, as well as the board meeting dates. And if there's something that possible agenda items, so that way we kind of have an area of like, okay, you know, we're gonna do this during this month to kind of keep us on track as we go through there. We have finance committee discussion. So Jeannie and I sat down and we looked at different topics for the finance committee. And so we added those on there as well. And then audit committee, kind of those dates as well as it'll be, you know, September, October, November are kind of the dates possible, post audit committee in November.
and Ms. Piercy wants to approve it or?
I think let's wait. We can wait till the next meeting. And that way I can add the board report, who's gonna report, and then that way we kind of have, if we approve it, now we kind of have a way forward, right? Okay, this is gonna happen and we're not changing what we're going through. And I also like some of these student teacher presentations or TBA. So if I can get them to a few more people to get on there and I can add those to it as well before the next meeting, they'll be ready.
And what was the balance?
Okay, I move we table the school board calendar.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it is an action item, okay. We have motion on the floor by Ms. Cobos. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have motion and a second by Ms. Miles. Roll call. Ms. Cobos,
I,
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item 7I, discussion and approval of school board reimbursement process.
And I just noticed they didn't get attached, so let me attach those two forms real quick, because I didn't. So with this, two things. The first one is for school board meeting reimbursement. So if you go to a meeting based upon board policy, if it's less than 4 hours, you can take a stipend for that. Or if it's more than 4 hours, there is funds for that as well. And we didn't currently have a form to fill out. And so Jeannie has created a form and I just want approval that
So do you have those numbers off the top of your head?
Which numbers?
So this is just an irregular board meeting or a special board meeting, or if we travel somewhere
So
for
this,
training?
hold on, let me,
Did it pop up on you?
Oh, no, the link's not yet. You'll see her live. There she is, right there, trying to get it. She'll probably drop it right there where her cursor is.
the first one that says school board.
Yeah.
Is the form. You should be able to see it for school board meeting reimbursement.
Okay.
And so this is what a board member, if they chose to take reimbursement, they would fill this out.
Okay.
Let me get the other one. And then the second one that says travel reimbursement. Is for meal allotment as well as mileage. However,
It's only the meal allotment.
oh, it's only meal allotment.
So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you talk to me, go ahead.
we just didn't have these forms in place before because when this came into statute, our board chose not to participate in this. But now that we are, we separated the meal for that's alone because that's set by DFA. It's not a reimbursement, it's an allotment if you choose to submit that paperwork. And then the other travel, talks about the meeting attendance, it's a less than 4 hours for them.
Mhm.
And, mileage, and our district policy is the same for all of our staff. We only pay mileage if the district vehicle is not available. So we
okay.
left that as it is. Of course, that's up to y'all.
Yeah, so if you do want to leave the mileage piece or to be able to use your own vehicle, to pay mileage, or we have the school vehicles that you can use a school vehicle instead.
Okay. That might be a good discussion for everybody, is to see if we want to keep it like that, or if somebody wants to tweak it or edit it so we can use that and the actual school vehicles. I want to say, I've talked to somebody before about the reimbursement stuff, and there are options. It kind of comes down to each board member, each board to see what they want to do with.
It is in policy.
Okay. That they have to take it, or that?
No, not that you have to take it,
Okay.
but that it is an option.
Okay, so at that school, what they did, and I'm just throwing ideas out there. What they did is they recommended that, and they actually were doing it, that they kind of fill this out. And what they ended up doing is, if you didn't take it, they'd put it back. It'd go back into some kind of scholarship. And at the end of the year, the board would issue a scholarship with what we did not take. So for instance, if I go somewhere, I choose to take my own vehicle because I make a lot of calls. I got to catch up. It's always work, even though I am traveling, I'm on the phone. I would take my own, and I don't ever ask for reimbursement or fuel or anything like that because it's to my convenience. I'm still working while I'm driving. But on that, if we are allotted this, we can choose to say, keep it in somewhere, in something, allot it somewhere, and then, the board could do that. I know Floyd is the one that was doing that, and my father-in-law Paul is the one that told me about it. So it's just an idea, and I'm throwing it out there. We don't have to do any of that or anything, but it's good.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, Jeannie, is that like something that, I mean, I guess could that money be funneled somewhere else like that? I don't know what the rules are on I think, I don't know the answer, but I think we would start by looking at Floyd's board policy and model after that.
Yeah.
And just learn from what other districts are doing.
Yeah. Because, I mean, some of this stuff is already allotted, it's not being used in any way, not by the board. So, that's something that the board could actually do and give back to the community as far as that goes. And not trying to shame anybody, if somebody does say, hey, I have this much invested, I need that. Not trying to discourage any board member or any future board member, or say, hey, I don't have the capability to do that in the future, or, it's just, if it's written down and it's transparent, that's kind of what people, I think, would like.
But I think that's
Agreed.
where they
I
offer
think-
the
I
school.
think to leave it the way it is good, and then we'll figure out how, if it can be funneled somewhere else. And then if board members choose to do that, then that, they choose to do that.
Of course, yeah.
And to clarify about the vehicle, all it takes, some of you may, I don't know, I haven't looked at our driver list lately, but, there's a electronic consent form that Annabelle would send you if you're interested in being able to drive a district vehicle. And all it does is just our insurance runs your driving record, make sure you're good to drive. And that's all it takes. How we do that with staff, just as an example, if it's spring and every vehicle is out and I have a meeting to go to, I will email, Molly and say, hey, I have to go. Am I okay to request reimbursement? And she would respond to that, and I would attach that approval to my travel form. I did that one time. It was right after the flood because they didn't want us taking any vehicles in case we needed. They just wanted them all in district because we didn't know what's going on and what we would need. So I can think of 2 times in my tenure that we've actually paid mileage. Once myself, once to an administrator, because there were no vehicles available. Generally, there are district vehicles available. And of course, our staff are expected to, if Niall and I are going to the same event, we carpool. We don't take our own vehicles unless I just choose to take my own.
It would be more cost effective to the district,
Correct.
by all means. So that might be something we need to look into.
So the suggestion right now is that we adjust it to, if you're going to something outside of district, you can only get reimbursed if if a vehicle is not available, correct?
Yeah.
That
Okay,
would make
because that's not what it currently is.
So staff, yes, but board members, there's nothing in place.
Got you. Okay.
Okay.
I like that alignment.
Yeah, and I think for staff, absolutely. I think for board members, for myself included, kind of like Mr. Gobble said, sometimes, we have work calls and things to do along the way. Or can't leave the day that everybody else is leaving, so then we might end up with 3 district vehicles at the same spot because we all have different dates. But
Yeah.
we haven't been all,
And there's currently 2 vehicles.
I mean-
Accessible, right?
We have several, and there are times, I'm gonna use the SOAR conference as an example, that there are several of us going to the same meeting. However, Molly has to be there a day ahead of time, so
Yep.
we have set, 2 vehicles to 1 meeting.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not saying that we cannot do that.
Yeah.
We do have multiple vehicles available. Springtime could be the only time it might be iffy, but we haven't had any issues.
that's what I was just thinking. If there's multiple vehicles available, then why not go ahead and do that?
Send 2 with the same conference.
Correct.
If 2 people need to leave on Friday and the other have to leave Saturday morning,
Right.
Okay.
As an example.
So it is an action item. So somebody would like to make a motion, on it.
I move we approve the form as is right now.
Okay, the form, and what about so we can vote on that. Does anybody want to add anything on the vehicles or?
Form as is old policy, yep, to where it's staff only.
The 2 forms we're
Correct.
presenting are new forms following the staff policy. Just being consistent with how we handle staff travel. But the forms are new.
Okay.
We just created board specific forms, and you'll see Mr. Davalos, as president, it would come to you for approval.
So I guess the only thing that's kind of up for discussion right now would be because the meals, I get that. The vehicles, that would save the district quite a bit.
And that's where I'm aligned,
Yeah.
right? Like if you want to take your own vehicle, that's a personal choice. You personally chose to take on that
Yeah.
financial thing, right? Like if there's a school district vehicle available,
Mhm.
take it. If you want to take your own, that's at your own cost. That's where I stand.
Right.
Yep, I'm with you on that.
I think that's fine too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think we just need to make sure those forms are readily available to request the vehicle. So that, we know how far in advance we need to request those.
That is something we can do. And also, if you'll approve this, I'll ask Annabelle to send you the electronic.
Copy.
Yeah, so we can put you on the insurance.
Perfect.
Okay.
Just get that done. Yeah. And
And we'll send those to your Dexter Demon email addresses. And
Okay.
we'll also send you directions on how about requesting a vehicle. Niall has some very good step-by-step instructions.
And what about passengers in the vehicle? I mean, I know staff members sometimes take like family members. Is that allowed for board members as well?
Yeah, staff right now, they can take their own family only. If I, just for background, as a staff member, I can't haul a student but I could haul my own child.
Okay.
So, we have done that. And of course, y'all would work that out amongst yourselves when you're making travel.
Okay, so. Okay, so I guess we have several things going on here. If somebody wants to put a motion on the floor to accept the forms without, we're gonna have to edit the form, correct?
No,
no, they've updated them.
Okay,
the forms are just consistent with district
Okay.
procedures right now. We just created specific board forms just because we've
Gotcha.
never done this before.
Okay.
The board had always chosen not to do that. So we didn't have specific forms for board members. So we thought it would just be easier to separate them, and we'll make them available to you probably in the board Google Drive, I imagine.
Okay.
We'll figure that out and then share those details.
So
And then as far as
So, Mr. Davalos, I had made a motion to accept the forms as is.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We'll go ahead and see that through, and then we can come back and place another motion for the rest of that as well. For the
The rest
vehicles,
of-
correct?
That is her motion to accept these.
Yeah, so on the form, it says completely only if pre-approved to drive private vehicle traveling more than 50 miles from Dexter. So that's on that form already.
Okay.
Because they match the district
Okay,
policy
gotcha.
already, and so
Okay.
everything should be good, just to approve the.
Perfect. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second by Ms. Miles. Can't say all in favor, I'm sorry. Roll call, Ms. Gobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
All right.
myself, aye. Motion passes.
So then we can look into, check with Floyd's board policy and see.
We'll do some research on that.
Yeah,
Because that will need to come back to
Yeah.
y'all before we move forward with anything like that.
okay.
And that would just be as an option, not mandatory. But
So back on this, on the discussion stuff, I know it has happened in the past, and I'd like to, find a way to address it or talk about it or see, so it doesn't cost the district any money and the district doesn't benefit. When you sign us up for certain things, how soon do we need to let you know so that we can try to get our money back in case we cancel right before?
So it depends. There is a date with each conference. Depending on hotel, typically get everything back because make reservations. And that's something that, in the past has been really good about making reservations early. So that way we were staying at the conference hotel. Didn't happen in June, but we'll do better. And with that, then hotel is pretty easy, but it's almost less than a week after we register, that if you don't back out at that point, then we pay, and it's not the whole amount, you get some of it back. Right, pull up actually
Okay.
what, just for the last one. what was
Yes,
that?
go ahead.
Are you talking like registration fees for like the conferences?
Yes. So if we say we're gonna,
Quite a staff as well, I mean.
So we
like,
do
are there
have,
clauses for staff who's,
yeah, so we,
you know, soon after?
so we implemented, this year when we sent everyone to Atlanta, that everyone had to sign a reimbursement form for the planes. And so if they were not able to go, that way we had that secured, for any reason. And there's always the ability, like something major happens, there is superintendent approval that they wouldn't have to pay those funds back, but we did start that procedure. And the expectation of going and staying for conferences definitely is in place in terms of, you know, paid and going. But I think, correct me, your question is more is like if they don't show up at all,
if
right?
somebody don't show up, or if last minute I can't go, and it costs the district, say, $800, the district is just out that $800. I mean, I don't know if there's something in place we can do there. Are we liable for any percentage of it? Or how's that with staff? Is there anything in place for staff on something like that as well? Or?
The Atlanta trip was the first trip that I know of that anything was put into place.
There is not.
Okay.
Probably because it has never been an issue.
Okay.
You know, if someone signs up for a conference that is their intentions to go, we haven't had cancellations.
Okay.
Like that. As far as budgeting for this, because this is new, these are new expenditures that we don't normally budget for. I think the calendar that Ms. Pierce is working on will be really helpful. You know, when y'all know to help us estimate what to budget for, because we have not budgeted for board reimbursements at all. We have budgeted for the conferences you attend because, you know, it's normally the same things every year.
Mhm.
But the board reimbursements, we have not budgeted for, and the calendar will be helpful in knowing for us what to expect so we can encumber them.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. That was just a question.
And I'll get back to you guys on the, like, how long. I know I have an email from when, like, they send out a registration and then they send a second one saying that you have so long before.
But it is possible to wait and pay when we go.
You can, yes, we can also do that. And so they do, you know, charge you more to do that. But I think that's a better option if you're unsure if you're gonna go. And we can just do a late registration and pay a little extra as well.
And would you just need to get a PO or how does that work? And I guess, I mean, obviously we're talking about school board members, but I mean, we'll, I guess this probably needs to apply maybe, you know, to staff. I don't know if that conversation is something we need to have or, you know, that maybe can be had with the leaders.
So as far as POs for board travel, for example, the NMSCA conference, when we received the letter, like she mentioned, we reserve those rooms if at all possible, if we get enough notice. We put POs in place. We put a PO in place at that time for reimbursements. You know, normally we end up voiding those because most of you do not request reimbursement. Either way is fine. But as far as POs, Annabelle on y'all's behalf takes care of sending that PO to NMSBA once you've committed to the meeting. So it's not something that y'all would have to worry about. Y'all would just have to worry about communicating with Ms. Pierce that yes or no.
Okay. And I guess Ms. Pierce will get back to us on
Yeah.
the timely manner situation. That way
Yeah,
we
about,
try to recover back. Okay. Okay. We're kind of done with that one. I'll move on to the next one. Any more comments? Good. Okay, I'm on item J, approval of Sarah Farms milk contract.
So I do have anything to- no.
It's 4-year extension of our.
The 4-year extension,
A full year.
a full year.
1 year.
Okay, sorry,
1 year.
I'm getting old.
No, I thought it was 4, so it won't raise our prices at this time, it'll stay the same.
Awesome.
And they're a really great company, they have excellent good taste test, good prices. So,
Awesome. Good deal. Okay, questions or motions?
Do we have their
I
chocolate
move
milk
we
in house?
approve the milk contract.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Cobos. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second by Ms. Batista. Roll call, Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Yes, ma'am.
So we do currently do the chocolate and the white milk. And I still do the 1% white and fat-free on the chocolate. And we were approved to start doing 2% milk or in whole milk.
Nice.
But I have not been able to bring the whole milk aboard because they did not give us the extra calories and still be able to meet the requirement. So we have minimums and maximums on calories, and breakfast is especially hard. And so we just don't have the facilities to store whole milk for breakfast or fat for breakfast and whole milk for lunch or whatever. So I have not done that. The same with strawberry milk. I have not used strawberry milk in a few years because now, starting this year, we have a new sugar requirement. And so it takes a lot more sweeteners to make strawberry flavor than the other 2 milks. So that's why we don't use strawberry, although it's delicious.
It is
But it's
delicious.
high calorie.
Takes all the fun out of it.
Yes. They gave me a lot of fun trying to figure it out.
Well, I love it. I'm a big fan of milk.
I'm a big fan of milk, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Item 7K, reading and discussion of board policy B-0050. Oh, that's a whole bunch of them.
Mhm.
B-0100, B-0131, B-0150, B-0200, B-0250, B-0350, B-0400, also B-0450, B-0500, B-0550, B-0700, B-0750, B-0800, B-0831, B-0832, B-0900, B-0950, B-1050.
Okay,
Good
good
job.
news is you don't have to approve any of these. We're back
Okay,
to
thank
reading
you.
through them to, go through as we have. So just a
Okay.
quick update. There is a link now on there, but if you ever want to find your board policies on the Dexter website, under district information, Board of Education, right here is school board policies. And then it asks you, you can see any school board that you want. And And it looks like nothing's on here, but really it's over here under Dexter Policy Manual. And we're reading under B. And so here's all the B policies. Good thing is most of them are short. So Lewis did ask me if I could find a chat GPT that would read them all tonight. However, I did not have enough time. So here we are at the meeting, gonna read some policies.
Joy Skippy, my favorite. Can we start assigning these as homework for the next time? Like you have to read them all before you come?
You have to read them before you have to read them out loud, or
No, we would just have to read them at home and.
and then talk about each one of them?
Yeah, do we have any modifications? Do we have any questions? And then if
How,
not.
how
then we
many
could
people would read them?
Not very many.
I mean, if it's mandatory. It's like when a
So
coach
B
tells you.
0050, school board operational goals. These were created when the date of the manual was adopted. The state legislature has granted to the people the power to form school districts and boards of education, which under the law are empowered to exercise legislative authority over the public schools within their respective districts pursuant to applicable laws. As a representative of the people, the board accepts the responsibility to identify community attributes and opinions and district needs, and to require short and long range strategies that are responsive within the budgetary limits of the district.
Okay, so B0100, evaluation of school board self-evaluation. The board shall meet as necessary for the purpose of appraising its functioning as a board and to evaluate board performance. The appraisal plan approved by the board will be facilitated by the board president working with the superintendent. Evaluation instruments for board operation may be used in the process. The superintendent and others who regularly work with the board may be asked to participate in all or a portion of the appraisal. Areas of board operations and relationships that may be appropriate to consider during the evaluation of board procedures may include, but are not limited to, board meeting decision-making process, policy development implementation, board or district goal setting, curriculum and instruction management program, fiscal management, resource allocation, school plant planning and management, board member orientation, board member development, board officer performance, board member relationships, board superintendent relationship, board community relationship, legislative and governmental relationships. This was adopted when the manual was adopted.
Good news. B0130 is just the evaluation tool.
Yay.
So.
This one's all questions.
That would be the tool that could be utilized. It's just an example that they gave.
So you want to skip 0131?
Yes.
Okay, so B-0150 is going to be the New Mexico Constitution. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I can read that if you want.
Go ahead.
B0150, the New Mexico Constitution places the responsibility of establishing and maintaining public schools on the New Mexico legislature and directs the establishment of a public education department and public education commission with powers and duties as provided by law. The department shall be a cabinet department headed by the Secretary of Public Education, who shall have administrative and regulatory powers and duties, including all functions related to the distribution of school funds and financial accounting for the public schools to be performed as provided by law. It is further provided that school districts under the general supervision of the Secretary of Public Education shall be maintained, developed, and operated by local elected boards. A school district is a political subdivision of the state for the administration of public schools under the broad authority from the New Mexico Constitution, New Mexico statutes, and the rules of the Secretary of Public Education. That was adopted, manual adoption.
You want a short one, huh? Mhm. B-0200, board powers and responsibilities. A member of the Board of Education is a public officer, but has no power or authority individually. The law vests power in the board and not in the members, either individually or otherwise, and these powers must be exercised by the board at a public board meeting in regular or special called meetings, with action duly recorded in its minutes. The board shall have the following powers or duties in accord with statutes. Subject to the rules of the Secretary of Public Education, develop educational policies for the school district, employ a superintendent for the school district and fix the salary, review and approve the school district budget, acquire, lease, and dispose of property, have the capacity to sue and be sued, acquire property by eminent domain pursuant of the procedures provided by the eminent domain code, issue general obligation bonds of the school district, provide for the repair and maintain all property belonging to the school district for good cause and upon order of the district court, subpoena witnesses and documents in connection with a hearing concerning any powers or duties of the local school boards, except for expenditures for salaries, contract for the expenditure of money according to the provisions of the procurement code, adopt rules pertaining to the administration of all powers or duties of the local school board, accept or reject any charitable gift, grant, device, or bequest. The particular gift, grant, device, or bequest accepted shall be considered an asset of the school district or the public school to which it is given. Offer, and upon compliance with the conditions of such offer, pay rewards for information leading to the arrest and conviction or other appropriate disciplinary disposition by the courts or juvenile authorities of offenders in case of theft, defacement, or destruction of school district property. All such rewards shall be paid from the school district funds in accordance with rules promulgated, correct me, Ms. Miles, by the Secretary of Public Education. How do you pronounce that one?
That's a good guess.
Okay, thanks. Give prior approval for any educational program in a public school in the school district that is to be conducted, sponsored, carried on, or caused to be carried on by a private organization or agency. The board shall, in accord with the administrative code of the Secretary of Education, approve and support the district's educational plan for student success and each school site level EPSS action plan. Employ and evaluate the local superintendent on an annual basis in accordance with the section 22-10-3.1 NMSA 1978. Ensure that each member of the board participates in a planned program of training which will assist in the performance of specified duties. Delegate administrative and supervisory functions to the local superintendent. Refrain from involvement in delegated administrative functions. Noted. Review, revise as needed, and submit policies to PED on an annual basis. Award diplomas to students who have successfully completed graduation requirements. Ensure the alignment of district curricula with the content standards with benchmarks. Ensure that district funds are appropriately managed and dispersed. Be responsible for oversight of revenue and expenditures within the district budget. Accept responsibility for ensuring the success of each school board in the district. Of each school in the district, my apologies. The board performs the following basic functions necessary to the discharging of its responsibilities: legislative, executive, and appraisal. The legislative function is the policy-making aspect of the school system. It is the policy of the board to retain and exercise full legislative authority and control over the schools by adopting general policies or by acting directly in matters not covered by its policies. The executive function of the board is concerned with placing in operation existing board policy. Most of this function is delegated by the board to its executive and administrative officer, the superintendent. The appraisal function involves the determination of the efficiency of the school operation and an evaluation of the educational program of the district based on the policies as outlined in the policy manual. School board members in their first term shall complete at least 10 hours of mandatory training during their first year serving on the board in courses approved by the state public education department. Training for the school board members shall include at least 2 hours covering laws and department policies and procedures affecting local school boards or public schools, including ethics and school personnel, at least 2 hours covering public school finance, budgeting, and fiduciary responsibilities of local school boards, at least 2 hours covering legal concepts pertaining to local school boards and school districts, including the Open Meetings Act and the Inspection of Public Records Act, at least 2 hours covering effective governance practices and effective methods of supporting and supervising the local superintendent, and at least 2 hours covering student achievement and student support services. Mandatory training for all other school board members shall be approved by PED and shall include at least 5 hours per year and shall cover laws and department policies and procedures affecting local school boards or public schools, including ethics and school personnel, public school finance, budgeting and fiduciary responsibilities of local school boards and performance-based budgeting, a local school board's role in evaluating and improving student academic achievement and using data to set individual school goals for student academic achievement in each of the school district's public schools, a local school board's role in providing a safe learning environment conducive to improving student outcomes, legal concepts pertaining to local school boards and school districts, including the Open Meetings Act and the inspection of the Public Records Act, effective governance practices and effective methods of supporting and supervising the local superintendent, and other matters deemed relevant by the department. In order to be credited with attendance at these courses, each attendee must comply with written attendance procedures established by the PED. Adopted July 8th, 2024.
So B250, board member authority and responsibilities. All powers of the board lie in the action as a public body. A member of the Board of Education is a public officer, but has no authority or power individually. Individual board members exercise authority over district affairs only by way of votes taken at a legal meeting of the board. An individual board member has authority only and to the extent that the board by vote has so delegated such authority. A board shall not be bound in any way by an action or statement made on the part of an individual board member, except when such action or statement is pursuant to specific instructions from the respective board. While the Board of Education is charged by law with the responsibility of providing educational opportunities for the children of its district and of directing those public school activities, which the state entrusts to its care and supervision, a carefully planned pattern of authority is observed. In fulfilling its obligations, the board has the power of legislation and determines policies based on the legislation and evaluates their results. The direct administration of the school system is delegated to the superintendent of schools. The superintendent is held individually and directly responsible to the Board of Education for the execution of all its policies and for such other duties as may be assigned by the board. And this was adopted the date of the manual.
Oh, it worked out.
This one's for you.
It worked out just right. Look at that. All right. B-0350. A person who is a qualified elector of this state physically resides in the district and physically resides in the district on the date of the school board's proclamation calling a regular school district election. A convicted felon shall not be qualified to be appointed or elected to public office unless pardoned or restored to political rights. Adopted date of manual adoption. Not date. When is it?
B0400, board member oath of office. All elected or appointed members of local school boards shall take the oath of office prescribed by Article 20, Section 1 of the Constitution of New Mexico. Date of adoption was when the manual was adopted. And the next one is the actual oath. State of New Mexico, County of. I, Nancy Miles, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the State of New Mexico, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of school board member according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
B0450, board member resignation. Any board member who desires to resign from the board shall send a letter of resignation to the board in care of the office of superintendent, giving the effective date of resignation. The resigning board member should furnish a copy of such letter to each other board member of the board and the Secretary of Public Education prior to the date on which the resignation is to become effective. Adopted on the date of manual adoption.
B0500, board member removal from office. If a board member misses 4 consecutive regular meetings, the office of such a member may be declared vacant by a majority vote of the remaining members. If a member misses 6 consecutive regular meetings, the office of such member shall be automatically vacated. Board members may also be recalled through the procedures set forth in the state law. Adopted the date of manual adoption.
B0550, unexpired term fulfillment. The board shall have the power to fill a vacancy in their membership through an appointment by a majority vote of the remaining members. An appointee will hold the office until the next succeeding election for members of the board. If a qualified person is not appointed to fill the vacancy for a special election is not called by the board within 45 days from the date the vacancy occurred, the Secretary of Public Education shall appoint a qualified person to fill the vacancy until the next succeeding regular board election. In the event of the resignation of a majority of the members of the board, the Secretary of Public Education shall appoint qualified persons to fill the vacancies. Those persons appointed shall hold office until the next regular or special school district election when an election shall be held to fill the vacancies for the unexpired terms, the date of the manual adopted.
B-0700, a board member or candidate for board member, where that person's family shall not knowingly accept from a restricted donor a gift or market value greater than $250. A restricted donor is a person or agent of a person seeking a transaction with the donee's agency, who will be directly and substantially affected financially by performance of the donee's. That sounds weird, huh?
I've never heard that.
Donee's duties or the effect will be greater on a class of person of whom the donor belongs than the general public. With a matter pending before a regulatory agency in which the donee has this discretionary authority, who is a lobbyist or a client of a lobbyist with respect to matters within the donee's jurisdiction. A board member shall not solicit gifts or donations for a charity in such a manner that it appears that the purpose of the donor is making the gift. So a gift is to influence the board member in the performance of an official duty. Definitions for the terms gift, family, and restricted donor can be found in a gift act cited below for purposes or interpreting this policy. Date of manual adoption.
BO 750, Board Member Ethics. In accordance with the Governmental Conduct Act, I shall maintain at all times the integrity and ethically high responsibilities of public service and discharge my duties in the same manner. I shall conduct myself in a manner that justifies the confidence placed in me by the public. I shall treat my position with the school district as a public trust and shall use the powers and resources of my position to advance the public interest and not to obtain personal benefits or pursue private interests. I shall not request or receive nor offer a legislator, public official, or public employee any money, thing of value, or promise thereof that is conditional upon or given in exchange for the promised performance of an official act. I shall not directly or indirectly coerce or attempt to coerce another public officer or employee to pay, lend, or contribute anything of value to a party, committee, organization, agency, or person for a political purpose. I shall not directly or indirectly coerce or attempt to coerce the political activities of another employee while they are acting as a private citizen. I shall not use or disclose confidential information acquired by virtue of my position with the school district for my or another's private gain. I shall fully disclose real or potential conflicts of interest and shall make reasonable efforts to avoid undue influence and abuse of my position. If engaged in any employment outside of the school district, I will disclose such employment and will not participate in any decision or action involving the business identified in this section unless permitted to do so by the Governmental Conduct Act. As a member of the Board of Education, in recognizing that my actions will directly influence the children in this school district, I will strive toward ideal conditions for most effective school board service to my community, devise time, thought, and study to the duties and responsibilities of a school board member, enabling effective and creditable service. See, time, thought, and study. We could read these at home. Yep. Work with fellow board members in a spirit of harmony and cooperation, respecting their rights and views, make no critical remarks in or out of meetings about other members of the board or their opinions, keep an open mind and carefully consider all available facts in every situation before reaching a decision, render all decisions in open public meetings, accept and support majority decisions of the board, recognize that there is no authority of an individual board member either expressed or implied other than during legally constituted sessions of the board or when representing the board officially, welcome and encourage active cooperation of sincerely interested individuals, organizations, school personnel, and media representatives, confine the board's functions to policymaking, planning, and appraisal, delegate administrative and supervisory functions to the superintendent of schools, work through the superintendent, make criticisms of the school's administration and or personnel only to him, take appropriate action regarding employee termination or discharge in hearings before the board pursuant to sections 22-10A-24 or 22-10A-27 NMSA 1978 respectively. Resist every temptation and outside pressure to use the position of school board member for personal benefit or for the benefit of any individual, agency, or special interest group apart from the total interest of the school district. Adopted November 11, 2013.
In the event of B0800 board member conflict of interest, participating and voting restriction. In the event a board member is employed by a corporation or business or has a relative with a substantial interest in a corporation or business, which is or may be interested in contracting with or furnishing, there's a typo in here.
That's the one B200 also
Pernicious.
has F's in there, so I'll.
Contracting or with furnishing goods and services to the district. The board members shall declare the interest and refrain from debating and voting upon the question of doing business with the company. Once such interest is publicly disclosed, the corporation or business can seek and obtain the business of the district through a public bidding process. Nepotism. A person who is the spouse, father, father-in-law, mother, mother-in-law, son, son-in-law, daughter, daughter-in-law, brother, brother-in-law, sister, sister-in-law, or a member of the board may not be initially employed or approved for employment in any capacity in the district. Nothing in this section of this policy shall prohibit the continued employment of a person employed on or before March 1 of 2003. Prohibited acts. In accordance with the Governmental Conduct Act of a public officer or employee, they will not, while participating directly or indirectly in a district contracting process, also be the employee of a contractor seeking that contract. Shall treat any position with the district as a public trust and shall use the powers and resources of that position to advance the public interest and not to obtain personal benefits or pursue private interest. Shall maintain at all times the integrity and ethically high responsibilities of public service and discharge all duties in the same manner. Shall conduct all interactions in a manner that justifies the confidence placed in the office or position by the public. Shall fully disclose real or potential conflicts of interest and shall make reasonable efforts to avoid undue influence and abuse the office or position. Shall not request or receive nor offer a legislator, public official, or public employee any money, thing of value, or promise thereof that is conditional upon or given in exchange for the promised performance of an official act. Shall not directly or indirectly coerce or attempt to coerce another public officer or employee to pay, lend, or contribute anything of value to a party, committee, organization, agency, or person for a political purpose. Shall not directly or indirectly coerce or attempt to coerce an employee by threatening, requiring, influencing, or advising the employee regarding any political activity. Shall not violate the officer's or employee's duty not to use property of the district or allow its use for other than authorized purposes. Shall not take an official act for the primary purpose of directly enhancing a personal financial interest or position. shall be disqualified from engaging in any official act affecting a personal financial interest, except if that interest is proportionately less than the benefit to the general public. Shall not acquire a financial interest if it is believed the new interest will be directly affected by an official act. Shall not use or disclose confidential information acquired by virtue of the office or position with the district for personal gain or another's private gain. Will disclose any employment outside of the school district in writing to the district and will not participate in any decision or action involving the business identified in this disclosure unless permitted to do so by the Governmental Conduct Act. No person shall sell or use a student, faculty, or staff list with personal identifying information obtained from the district for the purpose of direct marketing of goods or services, except for legitimate educational purposes or with the authorized release of each individual on the list. That was adopted November 14th, 2011.
B831 and B832 are both just the form that you would fill out if there is a conflict of interest. So B900, board organizational meeting. The officer of the board shall consist of a president, vice president, and secretary, all of whom shall hold office for 1 year or until their successors are elected and have been qualified. For the purpose of organization of the board shall, at the regular January meeting, at the meeting of the board following a regular election, administer the oath of office to newly elected board members and elect from its membership a president, vice president, and secretary. The meeting shall be called to order by the president of the board for the presiding year. If that person is not a member of the board, a temporary president shall be elected and the meeting shall be called to order by the temporary president. The person calling the meeting to order shall preside until a successor is chosen. The new president of the board shall take office upon election. Election for the vice president shall then take place, and following that, the election of secretary. Each officer shall take office upon election to that position. Whenever there is a vacancy in a board office, the board shall elect a new officer to fill the vacancy during the unexpired term of the office. And that was adopted February 10th of 2020.
B-0950. Preside over all meetings and conduct meetings in accordance with the New Mexico law. Secretary of Public Education rules and policies of the district. Call special or emergency meetings. Consult with the superintendent on the agenda for each meeting. Encourage and maintain orderly and democratic participation. Keep all discussions factual and on the subject at hand. Allow for full and complete exploration of each item of business. The president may not act for or on behalf of the board without prior specific authority from a majority of the board. And the president shall perform other duties as assigned by the board or required by law. All communications addressed to the president shall be turned over to the superintendent for appropriate action of consideration by the board. Vice president. The vice president shall perform the duties of the president in the absence of the president and shall perform other duties as assigned by the board. In the absence or inability of both the president and the vice president to act, the remaining members shall select a member to act in that capacity. Secretary. The secretary shall perform all duties as required by law and perform other duties assigned by the board. The secretary shall be responsible for all records of board meetings and shall assist the superintendent, custodian, or public records for the district in providing access to these documents as required by law. Surety bonds. A surety bond shall be obtained by the district for all officers prior to their taking office. Adopted date of manual adoption.
B-1050, board superintendent relationship. The establishment of policies is the responsibility of the board, and the execution of those policies is a function of the superintendent. The superintendent is the chief executive officer of the school board and is responsible for the professional leadership and skill necessary to translate the policies of the board into administrative action. The superintendent is responsible for the administration of the district. The superintendent may delegate the necessary authority to other employees and develop such procedures and regulations as the superintendent considers necessary to ensure efficient operation of the district. Adopted date of manual adoption. That's all that was listed for today.
Cool.
We are able to, we could provide them as homework and come back and talk about them. So if that is what you would like for the next meeting, we can gladly do that. However,
I kind of enjoy going through
B200 still has EPS on there, and so we might want to change that, which is the old, and then B800 has a typo, so we can go back and fix that as well.
The next ones are fairly short.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I just kind of went through there, and I think it will take about 25 minutes, and I'll just go through the next set of Bs
Okay.
that come up and kind of choose from there, if that's okay.
Mhm.
Good news, it only goes to section L.
However, they get considerably longer
Oh.
further down the list you get, so there will be less and less of them that we can do a meeting.
Oh,
Those should probably be the ones we do.
read in advance.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that have most to do with like employees. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
So some good ones.
Oh, G is ginormous.
We're ready to move on to 8, finance and facilities.
Okay. 8, finance and facilities. 8A, approval of June bills and payroll.
I move that we approve the June, I have no questions. Is there any other questions on bills and payroll? I move that we approve June bills and payroll.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Batista. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Ms. Miles. Roll call, Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item B, approval of budget adjustments. Any questions on that? We good on that?
I have no questions.
So that because you guys gave us budget authority to approve and put those through until June 30th. They're listed all in there, and there was quite a few of them that came through after that June meeting. So thank you for doing that. Made it easier for us to stay in compliance.
And there are 2 folders, one, like, and Ms. Pierce just talked about those from June. There are also some for July already. I think they're both federal special ed. The federal programs.
Yeah.
They've already-
Idea B preschool entitlement in Title III. So
Do you have a motion on the floor or any other questions or comments?
I have no further questions or comments. I move that we approve the budget adjustments.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Batista. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And second by Ms. Miles. Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item 8C, approval of audit contract.
So we put the audit contract out there, and this JAG is the only group who responded. There are other districts close to us that 0 accounting firms have responded. So
Is that a new firm?
It is.
we had done 7 years with our previous firm.
And we're forced to change it pretty often.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, Ms. Cobos? Or a motion?
I move,
No, sir. I'm going, go ahead.
I move we approve the audit contract.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Miles. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Ms. Cobos. Roll call, Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item 8D, approval of purchase of Kubota tractor, I guess out of the capital outlay.
So, every year, so last year we went out for capital outlay for our, practice football field, for the sprinkler system that's there, for the track, field house, and, well, shade structures are with these. And so once we complete those, then these are the next round that we went out for, and we received all of them. And so we're ready to start working on these. The Kubota tractor, so these are paid for with capital outlay funds. So both, the freezer and the Kubota tractor, we asked legislators for.
Okay, awesome. Do you have a motion?
I move that we approve the purchase of the Kubota tractor.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, we have a second by Ms. Cobos and Ms. Miles, but we can only have one. Roll call, Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item 8E, approval of the freezer install, also out of capital outlay, as previously stated. Do we have a motion for that?
I move we approve the freezer install.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Cobos. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A second by Ms. Batista. Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Aye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
myself, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. All right, item 9, future agenda items.
Real quick, so previous, agenda had, resignations and, new hires as their own agenda item, but you weren't acting upon that item. So we have added those to human resources, report. And so we will report on all that. And so if you want, you can look at that right now. We do have, new hires on this list: Ashley Cathy, speech language pathologist; Jasmine Fernandez, middle school spedier; Gina Hardwick, high school math teacher; Courtney Link, middle school volleyball; Carly Rincon, program secretary; Christopher Roybal, middle school ELA teacher / high school boys basketball coach; Santana Behill, elementary school pre-K EA; Antonio Ramazzini, high school math teacher; Erubiel Barrientos, high school CTE teacher; Eduardo Jaques, band advisor. So band, in the last few years, the attendance in terms of number of students had dropped. We also lost our teacher this last year. And so how do we continue to offer some of that? And we have some people in our community that actually have some skills to provide that, but maybe don't have a teacher license. So to kind of build the band program back, this is similar to a coaching position. So this was part of what we brought forward when we did budget. And so we were able to get somebody from the community to be considered as a band advisor. So excited about the possibilities that way, but it'll be similar to an activity or a sport. It'll happen after the school day, and we'll have it like a club. And then we'll be at the football games. So excited about that. Allison Ackland, high school volleyball assistant; Kimberly Spicer Gonzalez, high school cheer coach; Amaraya Calderon, high school EA; and Raul Duran, middle school, high school football coach. Resignations: Michael Dominguez, Dakota Avery, Veronica Epler, Jasmine Duran, Juan Banda, and Jaime Chavita. Those are, the resignations are also in that file, so.
Okay.
Just, I wanted to, I guess, point that out before.
Yep. No, I did see that.
That's a lot of hiring. Good job.
Yeah, that looked really neat. That's good. Okay. Item 10, correspondence, future meetings and events. 10A, correspondence. Do we have any or none?
Nothing.
B, future meetings and events, July 30th, 2026, back to school swim party for staff. July 31st, back to school staff breakfast. August 3rd, students' first day of school, 1st through 12th. August 5th, first day of school, pre-K and kindergarten. August 10th, regular board meeting with strategic plan presentation at 4:30.
And I will send, Gmail invites to those if your calendar, takes those. If not, don't worry about it, but at least those of you who do keep track, it'll be helpful.
Okay. And item 11, adjournment. Do we have a motion or any other comments?
Quick note on the
Yes.
future meetings, October meeting, which I think is October 12th. I will be out of state, hoping I can be online, but I don't know that yet, so I just wanted to provide a heads up.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Item 11, adjournment. Do we have a motion on the floor for?
I move we adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Cobos. Do we have a second?
Hey, second.
We have a second by Ms. Batista. Roll call, Ms. Cobos,
Aye.
Ms. Batista,
Bye.
Ms. Miles,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Thank you guys very much. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you guys for coming.
Really good.
Sorry.
11:45.
Yes, thank